Have you ever felt that someone was carrying a secret about you? Something so powerful that it would change the course of their life? What if I told you that somewhere someone may have already spoken your name with a love they could no longer hide? Not in private, not behind closed doors, but in front of others, with a heart that finally refused to remain silent. Imagine hearing the words you never expected to hear, spoken by the one person who had been fighting their feelings for far longer than you ever knew. The most extraordinary moments in life rarely begin with loud celebrations. They begin with silent battles that no one else can see. Behind every unforgettable confession lies months, sometimes years of hidden emotions, sleepless nights, unanswered questions, and an inner struggle between fear and truth. People can hide their feelings from the world, but they cannot hide them from their own soul forever. There always comes a moment when what has been buried deep inside demands to be set free. Today's message is not simply about romance. It is about courage, authenticity, emotional transformation, and the invisible journey that leads one person to finally say, "I love you," without fear of judgment. Stay with me until the very end, because what you're about to discover may completely change the way you understand love, silence, and the remarkable power of a heart that finally chooses truth over fear. There comes a moment in every deep emotional connection when silence is no longer strong enough to contain what the heart has been carrying. For a long time, feelings can remain hidden beneath polite conversations, guarded smiles, or carefully chosen words. Someone may convince themselves that keeping quiet is safer than risking rejection. They may believe that if they never reveal the truth, they can protect both themselves and the person they love from disappointment. Yet, emotions do not disappear simply because they are ignored. They continue to grow beneath the surface, shaping thoughts, influencing decisions, and quietly transforming the inner world. The deeper the connection becomes, the heavier the silence feels, until it eventually reaches a point where it can no longer remain concealed. This is because genuine love is unlike temporary attraction or passing fascination. It settles into the deepest parts of the human psyche, influencing not only emotions, but also identity itself. When someone truly loves another person, they begin to see the world differently. Ordinary places carry unexpected meaning. Familiar songs suddenly remind them of one face. Everyday experiences become connected to memories they never intended to create. Their inner landscape changes in ways they cannot fully explain, and eventually those internal changes begin searching for an external voice. Many people spend months or even years trying to convince themselves that these feelings will fade. They distract themselves with work, responsibilities, or new goals. They tell themselves that time will erase what the heart insists on remembering. Yet every attempt to suppress authentic emotion often strengthens it instead. The mind may create countless logical arguments for staying silent, but the heart speaks a language that logic cannot completely silence. Every meaningful encounter, every unexpected reminder, and every quiet moment alone becomes another gentle push toward honesty. What appears to others as a sudden confession is rarely sudden at all. It is usually the final chapter of an invisible emotional journey. Long before any words are spoken aloud, countless private conversations have already taken place within the person's own mind. They have imagined every possible outcome. They have wrestled with fear, questioned their worth, doubted their timing, and wondered whether revealing the truth would bring happiness or heartbreak. Every day, they delayed. The emotional weight became heavier until remaining silent demanded more courage than simply telling the truth. There is something deeply symbolic about hidden love finally stepping into the light. It represents more than affection. It represents freedom from fear. Every hidden emotion requires energy to maintain. Pretending not to care, avoiding meaningful conversations, or acting indifferent becomes emotionally exhausting. Eventually, the soul grows tired of carrying a burden that was never meant to remain hidden. Authentic feelings naturally seek expression because honesty creates psychological harmony. When inner reality finally matches outward behavior, a person experiences a profound sense of relief, regardless of the response they receive. This is why public confessions often surprise everyone except the person making them. To observers, it may seem unexpected or dramatic. But within the heart of the one confessing, that single moment has been quietly forming for a very long time. Every unspoken word, every restrained emotion, every missed opportunity, and every silent hope has been leading toward that point. The confession is not the beginning of love. It is the moment love finally becomes visible after my living in silence for far longer than anyone realized. Courage is often misunderstood as the absence of fear, but in matters of the heart, courage usually appears while fear is still very much alive. A person who chooses to confess their love publicly is rarely fearless. In fact, they may be carrying more fear than anyone realizes. They fear rejection, embarrassment, misunderstanding, or the possibility that everything they have quietly hoped for could disappear in a single moment. Yet, there comes a point when these fears lose their power because something greater begins to rise within them. The desire to speak honestly becomes stronger than the desire to remain safe. This shift marks a profound transformation in the inner life where authenticity starts taking precedence over self-protection. For a long time, many people hide behind carefully constructed emotional walls. They smile when they want to speak, remain silent when they want to reach out, and convince themselves that protecting their heart is the wisest choice. These defenses often develop from previous disappointments, broken trust, or painful experiences that taught them vulnerability could lead to suffering. As a result, they become experts at disguising their emotions. They may appear calm and composed on the outside while carrying an ocean of unspoken affection. Within, however, no emotional wall is permanent. The more genuine the connection becomes, the more difficult it is to maintain these barriers. Deep love has a remarkable way of challenging every defense mechanism. It gently asks difficult questions that cannot be ignored forever. What if silence creates a greater loss than rejection? What if the opportunity disappears because nothing was ever said? What if the person they love walks away believing they were never truly valued? These questions begin to reshape priorities. Instead of focusing only on avoiding pain, the individual starts thinking about the cost of remaining silent. Sometimes that cost feels unbearable because silence begins to resemble surrender rather than protection. This inner conflict is not resolved overnight. It often unfolds through countless quiet moments of reflection. A person replays conversations in their mind, remembers meaningful glances, and notices how deeply the other individual has influenced their life. They begin recognizing that their feelings are no longer temporary emotions, but lasting truths woven into their daily existence. The realization grows stronger each day until honesty feels less like a choice and more like an inevitable step toward emotional freedom. When someone finally decides to confess their love openly, they are doing more than expressing affection. They are accepting uncertainty. They understand they cannot control the response. Yet, they choose truth over certainty. This willingness to embrace the unknown reflects remarkable emotional maturity. Instead of demanding guarantees, they accept that genuine relationships require vulnerability. Love cannot flourish where every outcome is carefully controlled. It grows where people are willing to reveal who they truly are, despite not knowing what tomorrow will bring. A public confession carries even greater significance because it removes the possibility of hiding afterward. The words are no longer private thoughts confined to the heart. They become visible, undeniable, and real. This act symbolizes a complete surrender of emotional pretense. Every mask carefully worn for months or years falls away in a single moment of honesty. While others may focus on the dramatic nature of the confession, the true transformation has already occurred within. The individual has reached a place where living authentically matters more than preserving a perfect image. In choosing openness over concealment, they discover that the greatest victory is not whether their love is immediately returned, but that they finally allowed their heart to speak without fear deciding its destiny. One of the most profound experiences in human relationships is discovering that another person sees you beyond the roles you play and the image you present to the world. Many people spend years building an identity designed to earn acceptance. They become who others expect them to be, hiding their fears, insecurities, dreams, and emotional depth behind a carefully maintained exterior. This protective identity may succeed in gaining approval, but it rarely allows someone to feel truly understood. A genuine soulmate connection begins to change this dynamic because it acts like a mirror, reflecting not only the qualities we proudly display, but also the hidden parts of ourselves that have long remained unseen. When someone falls deeply in love, they are often drawn to qualities that cannot be measured by appearance, status, or achievement. They notice the kindness hidden behind quiet actions, the resilience formed through difficult experiences, the compassion shown to strangers, and the strength that exists beneath moments of vulnerability. These observations create a bond that feels different from ordinary attraction. Instead of loving a carefully crafted image, they begin loving the authentic person beneath it. This recognition can be both comforting and unsettling because being truly seen means there is no place left to hide behind emotional masks. Many individuals fear this level of emotional visibility. It is easier to share success than insecurity, easier to reveal confidence than uncertainty. Yet authentic love naturally moves toward honesty rather than performance. It gently encourages both people to acknowledge the parts of themselves they once believed were unworthy of acceptance. Old wounds, forgotten dreams, silent regrets, and hidden hopes gradually emerge into the relationship. Rather than creating distance, these moments often deepen intimacy because they replace illusion with truth. A soulmate connection does more than reveal another person. It also reveals ourselves through meaningful conversations, shared experiences, and emotional closeness. We begin recognizing patterns we never noticed before. We discover how fear has influenced our choices, how past disappointments have shaped our expectations, and how deeply we long to be accepted without pretending to be someone else. The relationship becomes a mirror, reflecting both our strengths and our unfinished emotional growth. Instead of exposing weaknesses to cause shame, it offers an opportunity to understand ourselves with greater compassion. This process often explains why powerful relationships feel transformative, rather than merely romantic. The other person unintentionally awakens qualities that have been sleeping within us. Confidence grows because someone genuinely believes in our potential. Patience develops because someone chooses to understand rather than judge. Hope returns because someone reminds us that meaningful connection is still possible despite previous heartbreaks. These changes are not forced from the outside, but inspired from within as the relationship creates an environment where hidden parts of the personality finally feel safe enough to emerge. When a soulmate eventually confesses their love publicly, the words carry far greater meaning than simple admiration. Their confession reflects the journey of truly seeing another human being in their entirety. They are not declaring affection for perfection, nor are they praising an illusion created for the world to admire. They are acknowledging the real person they have come to know through moments of joy, struggle, silence, and honesty. In speaking openly, they are also revealing something about themselves. They are admitting that this connection has changed them, challenged them, and encouraged them to embrace authenticity instead of fear. Such a confession becomes more than an expression of love. It becomes a declaration that genuine connection begins when two people stop hiding from each other and finally allow their truest selves to be recognized. From the moment people begin interacting with the world, they learn that showing every emotion is not always considered safe. Some discover that expressing sadness invites criticism, while others find that revealing affection can lead to disappointment or rejection. Over time, they develop emotional masks, carefully constructed ways of presenting themselves that conceal their true feelings. These masks are not created out of dishonesty, but out of self-protection. They allow individuals to appear confident when they are uncertain, indifferent when they deeply care, and emotionally distant when their heart longs for closeness. Although these defenses may provide temporary security, they often prevent genuine relationships from reaching their full depth. A person who secretly loves someone may become especially skilled at wearing such a mask. They might joke to hide nervousness, avoid meaningful conversations to protect themselves from vulnerability, or convince others that the relationship means nothing more than friendship. On the surface, they seem composed and unaffected. But beneath that calm exterior lies a constant dialogue between desire and fear. Every smile they suppress, every compliment left unsaid, and every opportunity they let pass becomes another layer added to the mask they have been wearing. Eventually, the effort required to maintain this emotional disguise becomes exhausting. The human heart naturally seeks authenticity. No matter how convincing the mask appears, it cannot completely silence genuine emotion. Feelings have a way of revealing themselves through subtle gestures, lingering glances, unexpected concern, or moments of quiet admiration. Even when words remain unspoken, emotions often find other paths to expression. The individual may not realize it, but their actions begin telling a story that their voice refuses to tell. Friends notice unusual behavior. Family members sense emotional changes, and the person they love may begin feeling a connection that cannot easily be explained. The truth quietly escapes through countless small moments long before it is ever spoken aloud. As the emotional bond deepens, maintaining the mask becomes increasingly difficult because authentic love invites authenticity in return. Being around someone who inspires trust and emotional safety slowly weakens the need for constant self-protection. Conversations become more meaningful, silence feels comfortable instead of awkward, and moments of vulnerability no longer seem like dangerous risks. Instead of fearing exposure, the individual begins experiencing relief whenever they allow their genuine feelings to surface, even in small ways. They discover that honesty creates peace, while pretending creates tension. This inner transformation rarely happens all at once. It unfolds gradually, as fear loses its authority over the heart. The person begins questioning the purpose of hiding emotions that have already shaped their entire inner world. They recognize that the image they have carefully maintained no longer reflects who they truly are. Continuing to act indifferent starts feeling more painful than admitting the truth. The emotional mask, once a source of comfort, becomes a barrier separating them from the very connection they desire most. At that point, authenticity is no longer viewed as a weakness, but as a necessary step toward emotional freedom. When someone finally confesses their love in public, many people focus on the boldness of the moment. Yet, few realize what has truly taken place. The public confession is simply the visible expression of an invisible transformation that has been occurring within for a long time. It marks the collapse of every emotional defense that once kept the heart hidden. The individual is no longer speaking through fear, pride, or the need to appear unaffected. They are speaking from a place of complete sincerity, allowing their inner reality to match their outward words. In doing so, they leave behind the exhausting performance of emotional concealment and step into the liberating experience of being fully seen, fully honest, and fully present before the person who has quietly transformed their life. When people witness someone publicly confessing their love, it often appears to be a sudden emotional decision made in the heat of the moment. The surprise on the faces of those watching can create the impression that the confession came without warning. In reality, such moments are rarely impulsive. A heartfelt declaration is usually the final expression of a long and deeply personal emotional journey that has been unfolding in silence. The public words are simply the visible outcome of countless private thoughts, difficult choices, and inner transformations that no one else had the opportunity to see. Long before a single word is spoken, the individual has likely spent endless hours reflecting on their feelings. They have questioned whether what they feel is genuine or temporary. They have analyzed every conversation, remembered every meaningful interaction, and searched for signs that their emotions might be understood or returned. These reflections gradually shape their understanding of the relationship, replacing uncertainty with clarity. What once felt like confusion slowly becomes an undeniable truth that they can no longer ignore. During this process, the person often experiences an ongoing struggle between fear and hope. Fear encourages silence by imagining rejection, embarrassment, or the possibility of losing an important connection. Hope, however, continues whispering that honesty might lead to something beautiful. These two forces compete within the heart for a long time. Every meaningful encounter strengthens hope, while every moment of hesitation strengthens fear. Eventually, one emotion begins to outweigh the other. The desire to live truthfully becomes stronger than the desire to remain emotionally protected. This internal transformation also changes how the person views themselves. They no longer define strength as hiding emotions or pretending not to care. Instead, they begin recognizing that real strength lies in accepting vulnerability. Speaking openly is no longer seen as a risk to avoid, but as an honest reflection of who they have become. Their emotional growth allows them to value authenticity more than appearances, making the confession feel like a natural step rather than a reckless decision. When the moment finally arrives and love is expressed before others, the words carry the weight of everything that has come before them. They are filled with memories, silent struggles, unanswered questions, personal growth, and emotional courage. What listeners hear may last only a few seconds, but those few sentences represent months or even years of invisible change within the heart. The confession becomes more than a declaration of affection. It becomes proof that genuine emotions, when nurtured by honesty and self-awareness, eventually seek the light. In that moment, the spoken words are not creating the love. They are revealing a love that has already transformed the person from within long before anyone else knew it existed. A sincere confession of love is often viewed as the destination of a romantic journey. But in truth, it is only the beginning of something much greater. Speaking the truth aloud does not complete the story. It opens the door to a new chapter where two people have the opportunity to build a relationship based on honesty rather than assumptions. Until that moment, much of the connection may have existed in silence, uncertainty, or hidden emotions. Once those feelings are openly expressed, the relationship enters a completely different stage where trust, vulnerability, and shared growth become possible. Before a confession, both individuals may spend considerable time wondering what the other truly feels. Every conversation can be filled with hidden meanings. Every smile can raise unanswered questions, and every goodbye can leave room for doubt. This uncertainty often creates emotional distance, even when genuine affection already exists. A heartfelt confession removes much of this uncertainty. It replaces guessing with clarity and allows both people to respond to each other with greater openness. The relationship no longer depends on imagination, but begins to rest on truth. This new beginning also invites emotional responsibility. Declaring love is not simply about expressing powerful feelings. It is about being willing to nurture those feelings through consistent actions. Words may open the heart, but trust is built through patience, respect, honesty, and understanding. A meaningful relationship requires both individuals to continue learning about one another, accepting imperfections, and supporting each other through life's changing seasons. Love grows strongest when it is practiced daily rather than merely spoken once. A public confession carries additional significance because it reflects a willingness to stand behind one's emotions without hiding from the opinions of others. Instead of keeping affection confined to private thoughts, the individual chooses transparency. This openness often inspires greater confidence in the relationship because it demonstrates commitment rather than uncertainty. It shows that love is no longer something to be concealed, but something worthy of acknowledgement. Such honesty can strengthen the bond by creating a foundation built on authenticity instead of fear. Every genuine relationship also becomes a journey of personal transformation. As two people move forward together, they naturally influence one another's emotional growth. They learn patience where there was once impatience, courage where fear once existed, and forgiveness where old wounds once lingered. Challenges inevitably arise, but these difficulties become opportunities to deepen understanding rather than reasons to retreat. A strong connection is not defined by the absence of struggle, but by the willingness to face those struggles together with compassion and mutual respect. The moment of public confession, therefore, represents far more than an emotional declaration. It marks the transition from hidden feelings to shared purpose, from uncertainty to possibility, and from silent longing to active commitment. It symbolizes the choice to stop living in the safety of unspoken emotions and begin building something real through honesty and trust. What follows is not a perfect fairy tale, but a meaningful journey where two hearts continue, discovering one another with each passing day, creating a bond that grows stronger because it is rooted in truth rather than illusion. As we reach the end of this journey, remember that the most powerful words are often the ones that have waited the longest to be spoken. A public confession of love is never just about a single moment. It is the visible expression of countless silent battles, hidden emotions, and personal transformation. Behind every honest declaration lies a heart that has chosen truth over fear, authenticity over pretense, and hope over uncertainty. If this message resonates with you, perhaps it is because you are experiencing a similar chapter in your own life. Maybe someone has been quietly carrying feelings they have not yet found the courage to express. Or perhaps you are the one holding back, waiting for the perfect moment to reveal what has been in your heart all along. Whatever your situation may be, remember that genuine love is never strengthened by hiding forever. It flourishes through honesty, mutual respect, patience, and the willingness to be seen for who you truly are. Life has a remarkable way of bringing hidden truths into the light when the time is right. What feels uncertain today may become tomorrow's greatest source of clarity. Every meaningful connection begins with a single act of courage. And every lasting relationship is built one honest moment at a time. Do not allow fear to convince you that your feelings are without value. The greatest relationships are often born when two people stop pretending and choose authenticity instead. Keep growing, keep believing, and never lose faith in the quiet work taking place within your heart. Even when nothing seems to be changing on the surface, your inner world is preparing you for the connections, lessons, and opportunities that are meant to find you. Trust the journey. Embrace your growth, and let every experience shape you into the person you are becoming. Wherever you are on your journey, may you have the courage to follow your heart, the wisdom to recognize genuine love, and the strength to remain true to yourself. May every step you take lead you toward deeper understanding, meaningful connections, and lasting happiness. Good luck, and may your path always be guided by honesty, hope, and inner peace. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time with us today. Your support, your presence, and your willingness to reflect on these ideas mean more than words can express. If this message touched your heart or inspired a new perspective, consider sharing it with someone who may need to hear it. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for more inspiring content. Until next time, take care of yourself. Keep believing in your journey.